we're here, guys. Player to note: who are you bearish on? Who are you bullish on? Someone who you want to say will either significantly exceed their projected points or not even come close. Let's help our listeners out. Shed, you're up first, man.
We're talking about just week one, right? Just for
Week
this
one.
week's matchup.
We're not talking about our bold predictions on the season, just week one.
Well, either way, I feel like Alvin Kamara is going pretty low in fantasy draft. This is interesting how low he's going because he's been a top 5 running back last year, and in previous years he was a top 13 and a top 4 in PPR. And as long as he continues to be leaders among receiving yards and reception among running back, he's a must start in all leagues. And last year he only scored 6 touchdowns. 5 of those were rushing and 1 of those were receiving. Like for a guy who catches the ball, only 1 receiving touchdown, and he was still RB3, RB4 last year. So there's going to be an uptake. He's going to bounce back. He's going to do better than what there was last year. Kendra Miller stays hurt. Kamara is a PPR darling, and head coach Dennis Allen, he's playing for his job, right? He's playing for his job, so he has to give the ball up to Kamara, feed him, dump it off, and let him operate. So I see him as going pretty low, and then he's going to have a big game and a big year.
Alvin Kamara is that guy who delivers, especially if you're in a PPR format. He does not let his users, his managers down. No, sir. I remember that Christmas game a few years ago when he had 6 touchdowns in that game. Golly.
Yeah.
But the question, does he still have it?
He doesn't have competition, that's for sure. You're not getting it from Kendra Miller, Jamal Williams.
No, and he's the second option on that whole offense. It's him and Chris Olave. Those are your go-to guys. And Derek Carr is the check down king. Like last year, after Kamara came back from the suspension, I think he had like 8 receptions in his first game back.
He had like 13 targets in a game.
Yes. That happened too. It was crazy.
Olu, go for it, man. Week 1, player to note.
So player to note, you guys know I've always been big. I'm big on Josh Jacobs. I think he's gonna have a monster year. Beginning with what's it called? Week 1. He's gonna go to Brazil. They're gonna run the ball in Brazil. They're gonna run the ball. I just pray he doesn't get hurt without tough field or whatever they got there. But if it's a soccer field, it will be conducive to running the ball. So I really think he's gonna have a great year, a big year, and a big week 1. So let's go.
How many leagues do you own Josh Jacobs in?
Every league I'm part of.
Oh wow.
Except this one because someone just took him.
So kind of like how last year when Will was trying to hype up Trevor Lawrence because he's like, my mortgage.
We should let the listeners know both Shed and Olu are in live drafts right now. So everything they're telling us about is very relevant for them at this moment.
How many league are each of you guys in?
4.
4? What
3.
about you, Shed?
Actually, 5 now.
3.
3?
I've got 2 this year.
2? That's it?
That's it. That's my limit.
Are they both the dynasty leagues?
They're both dynasty.
So you're not even doing a redraft.
Speaking of which, can it
No,
work?
but I follow. But I'm looking at matchups every week. Like I've built my dynasty teams with depth, so I'm still looking at weekly matchups.
Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon. I'm gonna go Joe Mixon. But Kenneth Walker.
Oh, Mixon for sure.
Okay, gotcha.
I am in 2. I'm only in 2 redraft, 2 dynasty. But then I just do like the DraftKings. I'm in a DraftKings contest every week. And then I'm trying to see how many best balls drafts I've done on Underdog. It must be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 5, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. About 20. So I might do a few more. We'll see, but love best ball. It's easy. Set it and forget it. All right. Will, week 1 player to note.
All right. My week 1 player to note is I think Travis Kelce is going to disappoint this week based on where he's ranked in week 1. So they have talked about him pacing himself because he's turning 35 this year. And he knows and they know that they need him at full strength, full energy for a playoff run, right? Last year, he was the key to that playoff run. The other part of it is they've added other weapons. Obviously, Hollywood's out this week, but Xavier Worthy's going to be playing. You've got Rashee Rice, who is not yet suspended. He's going to be playing. And then you've got a strong running game. So Kelsey, look, he's going to get his targets, but I don't think he's going to be a league win or a week winning tight end, which is how he's being projected this week. I think he'll disappoint. It is also the Kyle Hamilton revenge game. That man was embarrassed in the AFC Championship last year. This is the rematch. So he's going to do everything he can to slow Kelsey. And I love their new defensive coordinator, Zach Orr, 32 years old, the youngest coordinator in the league, younger than some of their players. But I love his style. He came up under Mike McDonald. I think they'll have a good game plan against the Chiefs. And my bonus, Olu's going to hate this, but my bonus is stay away from the Green Bay Philly game entirely if you have options. These players are flying to the southern hemisphere. It is literally winter. It's winter right now in Brazil. No idea what the field conditions are going to be like. No idea what the weather conditions are going to be like. If you got a guy kind of on the bubble as far as start or sit from that game, go with the other guy because I think it could be a mess on Friday night in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
You think Philly and Green Bay are going to be affected by weather?
Weather and the fact that you are in the southern hemisphere. Like, it's not just jet lag, it's the entire way that it affects your body is changed. So, yeah, I think they're going to be I think it will affect it. I think it's going to be a poor quality game compared to what you would expect from those teams. Yes.
All right, then. All right. So my week one player to note, and I want to highlight, actually, I'm going to highlight a few players, but I'm going to go in on somebody. So this weekend, Miami plays Jacksonville. That game is supposed to be fireworks. I think that game has the highest over-under. You want to get as many people from that game in your lineup as possible because there's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. So fire up guys like Jalen Waddle, especially. Obviously, Tyreek, he's a must-play, but Waddle, he's going to be a great play. Malik Neighbors, people, I don't think they understand just how big this rookie is going to be.
Thank you. Shed, he's talking to you, sir.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, of all rookie receivers, he's probably going to have the highest target share. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like 140 targets. But, I mean, in this game, that's their game plan, okay?
Yeah.
It's to feature Malik Neighbors. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt and Darius Slayton are not a threat to the amount of targets that Malik Neighbors is going to get. Not to mention, they don't really have a good O-line. They don't really have a great run game. More than likely, they'll be playing from behind. Malik Neighbors as wide receiver 22 this week. He's going to be better than that. I love T. Higgins, especially if Jamar Chase does not play. But here's the guy I really want to highlight. Which team in the NFL last season had the most passing attempts?
Most passing attempts.
Rams?
Wait, don't tell us. Let's see. The most passing attempts, let me think.
Without looking at your list, I would have guessed the Cowboys or the Rams probably.
Yes, the Cowboys for sure.
The Washington Commanders threw 636 passes last year.
Wow.
636 passes. Now, here's what's interesting. Of those 636 passes, the reality is last season, Terry McLaurin, and I'm talking about Terry McLaurin here, okay? Terry McLaurin had 130 targets last year. Now, you might be thinking he's a wide receiver 1. Well, after him, Curtis Samuel had the second most. He had 91. He's gone. Jahan Dotson had 83. He's gone. Logan Thomas had 78. He's gone. Antonio Gibson had 59. He's gone. There are a lot of vacated targets in Washington. And guess who steps into these roles? Olamide Zaccheaus, Luke McCaffrey,
Diami Brown,
and the ghost of Zach Ertz. Okay, so who's my week one player to note? Terry McLaurin. Right now, Fantasy Pros has him rated as wide receiver 30. Who's going to eat into those targets? Oh, not to mention they brought in who for their offensive coordinator?
Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury with the air raid offense who wants to spread the ball 3 wide? Terry McLaurin, man. Fire up McLaurin with confidence. Yeah. That's my week one. They threw the ball more than anyone last year. Oh, and not to mention, who's their quarterback now? Jaden Daniels, who was 5th in NCAA in passing yards last year.
So
3,812 yards.
I have
The
two
man
picks
can
here.
throw the ball. He can throw deep, but you know what makes him special? He can throw the mid-range as well. Jaden Daniels is not just a running quarterback. He can throw the ball. The man won the Heisman Trophy. He can throw the ball. Okay, you bring in Cliff Kingsbury. The only returning pass catcher, really, the only returning guy is Terry McLaurin, and now you have a pass-heavy offense. Terry McLaurin is my guy for this week. I'm playing him in as many best ball matchups as I can. I only have him in like one league, I think, maybe two. I'm playing him everywhere I can. I'm not scared of McLaurin this week. Anyone have anything they want to say about that?
I love the McLaurin pick. Yeah, as far as outperforming this ranking of wide receiver 30, he's all they got. I mean, I think Eckler's going to get some of those targets for sure. But in week 1, it's going to go to your trusted receiver, which is McLaurin. So could he see 12 to 15 targets this game? I think that's easily within reach. Could he pull down 8 or 9 receptions? That's not out of the question. So to be better than wide receiver 30, 100%. He may not be in the top 12, but better than 30, no question.
Yeah, I'm big on him. Who are they playing? I think they got Tampa this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, it is Tampa. Absolutely.
He's gonna have a big week because Tampa, one of the biggest weaknesses of defense is their secondary. They're really, really weak in the secondary. So he's gonna have a monster game.
Over unders 4,
There you
and
go.
whenever one of my determining factors, and honestly, you look at the over under. That's Vegas's projection of how many points are going to be scored. 43.5 is not that great, but I believe in this game script and what they're going to do with McLaurin. Let's move on. Bowl